Peace, what up? This is Terrell with Quantum Light Consciousness. Today we're going to talk about breaking mind control and getting yourself free from the incarnational nets. This is a topic that is pretty heavy, only because nobody really covers it and nobody really discerns through it. And a lot of people are just caught in it and they don't realize they're being affected by it. It has to do with negative influences, negative beings. You can call it mind control, you can call it interference, or just, extra dimensional paranormal activity. Whatever label you want to put onto it, it's something that needs to be looked at, and it's something that is pretty relevant if you're looking to progress and proceed with your extra dimensional involvement and development. So let's get into it. So I always used to say, if people would just take 5 minutes out of their day, just sit down, calm their minds, still their minds, and focus on their soul, the world would be a lot better place. That's something that is evident with people who do that. They can see the world getting to a better place, but collectively, the world is transitioning into more of a unity consciousness. However, most people are still stuck in the lower dimensional, fourth dimensional, incarnational grid, kind of recycles you from life to death. And the reason for that is basically, if you go into a history lesson, this is more or less a blog for people who understand the types of consciousness that have been on the planet and have run the human race, kind of like as a slave race, and an energetic buffet for themselves, higher dimensional negative extraterrestrials from the Sumerians and from the Egyptians and whatnot, and the Anunnaki as well. So when you get through that, you see that the same type of consciousness and negative frequencies are still going on today and are still affecting people. And the reason why people cannot get into their own space is because it's constantly feeding off of them, mainly through their own thoughts. One of the blog posts that I wrote is called Gaining Control Over the Mind, because mainly you have to understand that you are not your mind. You are a vibration, and when you can see that and view yourself as that and feel yourself as that, most importantly, you understand that anything that goes through your mind, even if it's positive, it's not really you. It's just an energy wave. It's there and then it's gone. You are your own awareness, which is a point of perception, which is consciousness, which is nothing and everything at the same time. So the reason why people can't see that is because they can't get through the negative garbage that's constantly flowing through their mind. Say if you had a great idea, you're oh yeah, I'm going to be like this, and I'm going to apply this to my business, or I'm going to apply this to the next social situation, and it's going to be awesome. And then you forget it. You instantly forget it. I used to actually view this happening to me. I would see this happen. I have an awesome epiphany, and then I'd literally get hit with static in my face. Literally negative frequency would hit the side of my face, and then my eye would start stinging, and I'd hear the words forget, literally. So the reason why most people aren't aware of what is going on is because I don't want to call it mind control. It's basically just negative frequency that's still in use, that has always existed, but it's still in use now more than ever, just because of the shift of awareness that's going on. And unfortunately, it's been utilized since after the end of World War II, when you know, the Nazis allegedly lost, but it kind of was just like a merge, and then it kind of just like went up and got, you know, like extraterrestrial and multidimensional. So when you see that, you can go in and know that every time you go to focus on yourself, you're going to hit some type of negative influence that's going to stop you, or, you know, attempt to stop you. So just know that, and then you won't be stopped afterwards. So to break yourself out of this and begin freeing your mind, you have to know like what it's going to say. It's either going to say you can't do it, it's not worth it, go do something else, or forget. And it's totally like unconscious, just garbage, and it's spewed throughout the entire consciousness like a fire hose. It's just like all these like negative dimensional frequencies and parasitic forms that kind of just all coalesce like inside like a negative net, and this net is on people and they can't really get a hold of it, because it also takes advantage of negative influences from the moment you were born. Like, you're kind of just thrown. Sometimes, you know, people are born in the third dimension and they go into trauma after trauma after trauma, and then they're kind of hit with just like negative experiences that they kind of just don't recover from, and they're just trying to find ways to deal with the trauma that they've experienced and just cope through their way through life. And when you realize that there's negative influences taking advantage of that, you can start to disarm that, and you can start to heal those types of influences that would stop you. Another thing is when you try to control and still your mind, it'll bring up just negative garbage that happened like 10 years ago that has nothing to do with what you're doing now, you know. And then you have to just stop, address that, forgive that experience, and then move on. So when you understand that you aren't thoughts, like you aren't thoughts, any type of thought, any type of negative thought that goes through, it's not yours. Like any type of positive thought, you can identify with it, but at the end of the day, that's not yours either. You can start to continue on like your dimensional evolution of your own awareness, and continue to be your own being, you know, from the inside out. And knowing that there's a negative net, kind of just like going through each person and just like having these people just like ping pong off of each other from negative emotion, negative act, negative habit form, negative frequency, negative mannerism, just all unconscious. You realize that, you know, because you know yourself, you're bigger than that, and that net is something that's called on you, like you're not caught in it. And that's why I teach, you know, the pillar activations and the towards your breath, because it creates an infinite space within yourself, and then everything that isn't you cannot exist in your own space, because you are your own universe. Like, you become that and you embody that. So that's huge to kind of take into consideration and take into effect, you know, when you're looking to kind of just continue to wake up on your own merit. So yeah, like that's about it. You know, if you like a session, I'm available at quantumlight.net. I do healing and intuitive coach.